Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and otherwise, and welcome back to the Nebulous Void. Last time, we built for elephants. Somewhat against my will, but here we are. I'm pretty happy with how the habitat turned out. We've got this little Fabergé egg thing going on. We have this little rook thing. We've got the chessboard. And I think it's good. It's maybe not my favorite habitat that I've ever built, but it is certainly my favorite elephant habitat I've ever built. These guys are really hard to build for. It's just a lot of flat land, and the savanna biome is not necessarily appealing. And so you can imagine my woe when I spun the wheel 2 weeks ago, and we got West African lions. I was really hoping for something a little bit, different. Maybe something that represented the biome we started over here, and not more of this. Here we are. I'm not going to show the wheel spinning, partially because it's very visually intense, and that might not be something that my viewers want to see. But I also have decided that I think I want to start spinning the wheel at the end of the episodes. That way, if you want to see it, it's available for you. And on top of that, like, every video is going to be titled the name of the thing that we're going to build for, so it's not a secret anymore. So that way, if you want to skip the spinning, you're going to find out what it is anyway. So, anyway, here are our subjects, West African lions. I do not have any kind of mods to clean up their model, so we are working with the original vanilla lion. Their continent is Africa. Their regions are Senegal, Mali, and Niger. We have grasslands, and that's it. So, unfortunately, we don't get to roll for any other specifications. What we do have is this island up here that I started working on, and then my computer decided to die. Thankfully, as you can see, it's clearly working now. We have 3,888 square meters of land to work with, which is, I believe the technical term is enough. So, yeah, we're just going to work with this for a little bit. We've started this little platform, and I haven't decided if we're going to keep it or not. There's a lot of this habitat I have not decided if I like or not, but I think the first thing we need to do is we need to go into animal trading, and we need to actually go get us some lions so that way we can see them in context. Here we are. So let's go ahead and get a male. And let's say 4 females. That's usually a good group size. And all of you come here. We'll worry about quarantining and all that in a little while. One of the other issues that we've been having, though, are our facilities. So, unfortunately, we seem to be having an issue with negative guest impact. It's this little spot right here, and then some negative impacts over here from these radii. And unfortunately, they're maxed out. There's no smaller that we can get, so I think we're just going to cope with this by going into guest settings and altering this a little bit, so that way we no longer have negative impact, because there's just nothing we can do about this. Let's see here, where is that setting? Enable negative impact of facilities on guest happiness. Apply. Yeah, let's turn that off, because, like I said, there's nothing we can do. Short of, like, sinking the entire thing farther into the ground, messing up all of our pathways. It's just more effort than it could ever possibly be worth. So here we are. Our first lion has arrived in the zoo. Now, as much as I like cats, I've built occasionally for West African lions, but not actually done a whole lot with them. Oh, the girls actually look okay. I mean, they're a little bit sweet and cartoony. Like, I can see the flaws, but, I mean, honestly, guys, the females are not that bad. I'm sure the male will arrive, and I'm sure we'll all have some notes. But for now, what we need to do is figure out what we're going to design this habitat for. Now, obviously, we could just do the classic Pride Rock. As you can see, I have 2 variants from the workshop even, and this would even be the right size of platform for us to use these big old Pride Rocks. Alright, we can make that choice, But let's be honest, it's a little bit had. It's a little bit done out, overplayed. And quite frankly, I don't want to. So instead, I think, considering that we're playing with sort of a heavily themed zoo, I kind of like the idea of going in a different direction, but still maintaining that Lion King spirit, and channeling like a half live side, half dead side, and then doing sort of like a sun and moon vibe. I think that might be cool. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I figure we'll give it a shot. You know, why not? Alright, so let's start with our architectural elements. I have an idea. I don't know that it's gonna work, but we're gonna try it out. Let me go get... I need something flexi color, and we're going to use blue. And we might do this with the plastic pieces. I haven't decided. Well, let's get some plaster out. I'm sure I mentioned this before. I hesitate to use plastic in any of my builds. It just doesn't feel right, natural, anything like that. So I generally don't. However, if it's necessary, I'll make that exception, you know? Yeah, that's a nice blue. I like that. Alright, and now we need to start insetting some curves. So, I'm gonna get that done real quick, and, guess I'll see y'all next week. No, not actually, but I'm not gonna make you sit through this. Okay. Well, I think it's a nice base at the very least. I haven't decided exactly how far we're gonna go with this. I am gonna go ahead and mark our differential line. Yeah, there we go. And how much sand do they like? Kitty? Not nearly as much as I've put down, but that's okay. They do like a bit of soil. And they like rock. That's good. We can do plenty of rock. And then they like long grass. Well, that looks insane. Let's see how far it can go. Let's see how far we can push this. We could almost do like a natural half and an artificial half, even. Oh no, we'll think about it. We'll think about it. But I like the duality thing so far. Okay. This might be dumb. Let's see how dumb. Okay, let's edit this barrier piece. Where can I move you? There. Wow, that's ugly. Okay, that's okay though. Okay, guess what? I'm back. In between that cut. Yes, that one that just happened there. My entire CPU decided that it was going to heat throttle, and then shut down. And so I've now recovered from that error, hopefully figured out what was wrong. Apparently the CPU just wasn't sat properly. Don't you love it when you have to update your hardware and all of a sudden you learn all these weird things you didn't want to know about how a computer functions? Anyway, in the meantime, I've also fixed the audio. So hopefully I sound crisp. That's the goal. Who knows? Maybe I don't. Maybe I sound terrible. More terrible than usual? It could be. But it's also given me time to think about this design and realize what I'm actually doing here, because unfortunately what I didn't realize at the time was my latest Fullmetal Alchemist binge seems to be bleeding into my build style. Oopsie. And that's fine. Honestly, totally fine. So we're gonna work with that a little bit. I see Ollie is checking my noise suppression gate. We'll see. I also have decided that this path is dumb. And we're gonna get rid of it. Because I think that, considering what I have realized now about what I'm doing here, it doesn't make sense for us to have the guests going up the center of the line. I think what we need to do is have some kind of upper level here that they can kind of work within. So let's go ahead and build that real quick, I think. Let's go get our filters cleaned up, and what we want to do is get our Indian theme out. Now, unfortunately, we don't have Indian lions, we only have West Africans. Which is a real shame, because Indian lions are super cool. But I'm not going to let that stop me today. So let's go in and get our sandstone brick. And I think what we're going to do... Yeah, something like this. And then we'll do another one of, like, these. Create this little inset right here. And hopefully what we've done is we've outlined sort of a street area. Let's get another building, like, over here. Get some more of these arches. Yeah, like that. Yeah, there we go. And then, what we're gonna do is lay down a floor. And then let's build a second story. There we go. So that'll be our pathing. Let's go ahead and... we might need to break this off, just so that way we can keep on level. Or, I don't know, maybe we can move it more gently into the ground, so that way everything sort of lines up. Oh yeah, and we need to get our paths connected. I mean, that's still pretty ugly, but I mean, it's less ugly, right? There we go. That's a little bit less ugly. And then let's clean up the back here. There we go. And now, let's deal with our roof. Okay, so... I don't know what we're gonna do for this. Planet Zoo does a lot of things really well, but one of the things it doesn't do is domes. Dome-da-dome-dome-dome. You know what? Let's add the Lexicolor tag. There we go. Yeah, that's gonna be just way too pointy for what I want to do. And that's still too pointy. I mean, that kind of works. I don't know. I don't know. I'm tripping, right? Like, I remember us having way more roof pieces than just this. This doesn't feel complete. Like, am I tripping? I thought we had more roof sets. I mean, yeah, kind of, but not even a little bit. See, like that. But I need it in stone. Oh, I guess we could lean into the Germanic vibes, I guess. I don't really want to. Wasn't really my plan. But nothing so far has gone to plan, has it? And these roofs are just stupid and comical enough that I think that they might kind of pretend to work for what I want to do. Oh, I almost needed to have built this out of plaster. Like, just looking at my reference photos, like, it's got the right texture, but it's entirely too yellow. I guess we can just go for, like, the flat roof style, can't we? And then add those little yellow domes on top. That's probably gonna have to be what we do. Because that's the closest we have. Yeah, I mean, this is really it. This is what we got. So, screw it, we ball? Cool, alright. Let me take one of these out just so that way I'm aware, hey, by the way, I need to use this. Let's get rid of the dome tag, bring back the India filter. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be a one-for-one. For those of you who have not guessed yet, I am thinking about Lior and Xerxes from Full Metal Alchemist. Those of you who know what that is, you have the vibe. And those of you who don't worry about it. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fine. Oh yes, of course you would do that. What am I doing? I don't have to reblend this whole thing. Yeah, that's way easier. Why wouldn't I just do that? You can tell I've had a little bit of a break from this game, because I am forgetting all the basics, but that's okay. You know what? Let's leave this back wall open in case we need, like, stands or anything like that. Yeah, it's fine. Only thing is that I don't want to use this yellow brick for the outline, because otherwise it's going to be really, really yellow, and that's going to look really bad. So we're not going to do that. We're going to use something else, I think, for this area. Let's reset our filters. Get our flats out. I wonder if the Indonesian brick is going to be too... I mean, the breeze block would be perfect if it were FlexiColor. Like, this is a great texture for what I want to do. But it's hideous as sin. Like, it's just so ugly. That's somehow worse. I don't know why. I just don't like these conservation 3D printed anything. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't like that build kit. And, like, if you know how to make it work, and I've seen people make it work, like, good on you, but every time I look at it, I see the texture and I go, ugh. Temple wall floor? Is that gonna be too big? Maybe not, maybe not. And then we'll use the FlexiColor one, and we'll drag it to be something a little bit more, like, dusty. Yeah, because, like, we do want it to be unified, but we don't want it to be, like, monolithic, you know? There we go. Yeah, and then we'll do some like, ground texturing and things just to make it look not so hideously repetitive. I think we can make this work. And if not, well, it's a sheet. We can always just redo it. It's not a big deal. Yeah, because we want that to be an inset. We don't want it to overwhelm. Yeah, exactly. Like that. Good. Okay. This is better. Now there's only one teensy tiny problem. How are we gonna get the lions in here? That's the real question. Okay. Let's use the kiss method. And let's just... Right? Like that's the most obvious thing to do. Yeah. It would be the most obvious thing to do, except that you can't have the area of denial barriers overlap. Oh. I'm being silly. I'm being silly, y'all. See what I mean? Like, we can do this simply. Yeah, and then I know that that's, like, hideous. We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. I just need something for people to be able to get up here, and we'll make this sensible when we get there. Because I mean, like, even for a park being run by the most insane wizards, this is a little bit extra. So we'll tame it a little bit. What we need to do now is get our barriers fixed. Yeah, something like that. Can I please have the right size barrier? Thank you. I knew this didn't have to be hard. There we go. Yeah. And then, quite frankly, this whole area back here, it don't matter. Yeah, we'll do another null. Hook these up. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I knew we would get there. It only took us, what, 20 minutes? 40 minutes, however long this took. Yeah. Alright, and then let's try moving this whole unit so it's just a little bit more sensible with our paths. There we are. Just a little bit more sensible, not too much. Yeah, that works. And then, obviously, we don't want people falling off into the lion pit. We want entertainment, not lawsuits. There we go. Alright, much better. And then, because of the style we've abruptly moved to, this looks way too cartoony. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna have some fun with fountains. I don't know how we're going to have fun with fountains. I haven't thought that far. Give me a minute. Let me think about it. I think we can do this with glass barriers. And that is watertight. And it's nice and short, which is actually a good thing. We want this to be relatively short. We want, yeah, just that little bit of difference there. Yes. Yes, this is what we want. And now, to see whether or not it will let me do what I want to do. Of course it won't. Of course it won't. Why would it let me do that? Let's figure out which displacements. Actually, you know what? What if I just remove you? Let's try jutting it out. Let's figure out where that crunch line is. It's like right there. Ooh. Look at you, you unhappy camper. Ooh, didn't like that at all. That's fine. Yeah, let's try just doing this. Still doesn't like that. Is it because I didn't bring it actually onto the line? I bet you it is. I bet you it is. Okay. Let's try completely different angle, right? Because we know that we need a meter above the water for our barrier to function, right? That's generally how that works. So what if we bring the entire height of the barrier down first? And then, yeah, you see what I mean? And we're like so close. So close to nailing this. Let's see if that little bit matters. No, it doesn't. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, and now let's make that look good. Wow. Why do these grid in the worst way possible? And then we'll just go the easy route and just use, like, these sandstone brick walls. Right, basically at the right height. They do... they don't line up perfectly. Fine, fine, we'll do this the long way around. Oh no, wrong property. Theme. Indian. There we go. And we have these little pillar bases. Yeah.
Yeah!
Yeah, I think that that's the look. But what we need to do as well, before we commit to that, is we need to fix the barrier lengths here. Can I make you shorter? Yes, I can. Okay, so this one can be shorter. And then these need to be kind of in thirds. Or like as close to thirds as we can get them to be. Yeah. Yeah, and the water still behaves itself. Okay. That doesn't look too shabby. And then, I don't believe the India tag has any, like, fountains. So let's go ahead and clear that out. Yeah, and that's all gonna be, like, off, because of course it would be. You know what we can do? Use our snap position. Yeah, we'll snap it to this one right here. And then, that way we can move it right here. And we can figure how far off we are. In fact, I mean, it's not that bad. It's a little adjustment, but it's not, like, hideous, you know? I just don't want to see these little white pillars, that's all. Yeah, that's all we really need to do. Yeah, I think that works okay. Alright. So, I think the next thing we're gonna do is, instead of having these, like, little pillars right here, we're gonna have planters. I guess they're not pillars, they're little sun rays. We're gonna make the sun rays into planters. And then after that, we are going to smother this thing in green and decoration, and then after that, we will work on the moon half. And I figure we'll go for, like, a nature thing. That'll probably work. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm going to have a brief break. Just for a moment. And then we will come back to this. Dinner has been eaten. Let's figure out traversability, shall we? Yeah, okay. There we go. No more escapes. Alright, so let's go ahead and, at least for now, while we decorate and get all the different lions in, let's go ahead and get our food and enrichment and all of those things in. There, so they should now be plenty happy. We've got our other lions coming in. It's the male that we've lost track of, and that concerns me. There he is. We don't have Simba. We have Themba. I love that. Habitat is doing okay. One of the other things that we need to do is check on whether or not our water can get gross. And we are water cleanliness. And everything else can stay the same, quite frankly. I just don't want to have to figure out how we're going to get the water in here cleaned. And already we have tons of guests packing in. People are excited about these lions. Alright, let's go visit our male. Hello, Themba. Yeah, unlike the females, I think the males' faces could probably do with a lot of work. The manes are interesting. They're clearly using, like, an older architecture for the hair, but I mean, like, it's not the worst. It kind of holds up, but it kind of looks like there is a mesh that, like, it was laid on top of the skin mesh, and then the hair was laid on top of that skin mesh, and you can kind of tell. And the faces are just a little bit too doll-like, I think, if that makes sense. But I mean, otherwise, they're not terrible, you know? Like, they're not a good model, but they're not the worst model I've seen. They lean a little bit too cartoony. But, I mean, this is one of the reasons why there are as many remake mods as there are for them. Because they just sit a little bit weird, their paws are just a little bit too cartoony, the face is just a little bit off. But I mean, considering that this, I suspect that this was probably one of the oldest models, or probably even one of the first models that they ever made for the game. I mean, it's really not that bad. But it is one of those things where, like, I do wish for kind of a remaster. The females look pretty good, though. I will say that. Like, the toes definitely have that big, cartoony style, but I think it's kind of okay. Okay, back to decorating. Actually, you know what? Before we do any of that, let's go ahead and get the mulch in. Random rotation. Anyway, so back to dealing with this habitat, right? I figure we'll use a few of these Buddleia flowers. They're relatively new to me. So we got the barnyard pack, what, like, I don't know, almost 6 months ago it feels like. Maybe it's only been like 3 or 4. It feels like we've gotten absolutely no news in forever. But yeah, I don't know what's going on out there. They don't tell me anything. I'm not an affiliate or something. But anyway, so these feel new to me. And so I'm just making use of that. And then we're going to use a couple of these dog rose bushes, which don't look like any rose I've ever seen. But they've got a lot of character. I kind of like them. We also have Goodyear's roses in here, and it does kind of, like, bring up a question of, like, why don't we have just normal roses in this game? There's a lot of plants that we just don't have. Like, we don't have normal roses. We have a good collection of flowers, just not any of the ones you would normally think. I don't think we have tulips, you know? I don't think we have dandelions. And maybe there's, like, a keeping reason for that. Maybe, you know, those plants are toxic to some animals, and so they don't want to include them. That's possible. Yeah, this little fountain area is looking pretty good now. Yeah, let's do that, and then bring you in center, drop you down. Do I like this? I don't like this. Let's try somewhere else. We're not going like 100% Leor and Xerxes, like not even a little bit, but I do want to bring in some nice decoration. Give it a lot of like texture, you know. We have been staring at orange for so long, and our guests look like popcorn. I think we need blue. Right? Yeah, I think we need blue, y'all. And we need a little bit of green, but Yeah, yeah. Let's get some more blue. Maybe some tile? You know, that might be cool. Let's get the North Africa set out. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, like maybe we tile this. That might look really nice. What pattern do we want to use? Okay, good news is the mural set definitely looks like something. The bad news is when you put this yellow on the plaster, it looks like we're making blocks of Cheeto dust. And I can't approve. I can't. I'm sorry. Let's go for something a little bit more neutral. There are these... Yeah. But one of my favorite pieces in the entire build kit. I love these arbor panelings. Boy, that looks insane. I mean, that still looks insane. But at least now we can pull this little panel, right? Like you see where I'm going with this? Sort of break up the pattern with these little cool recesses, and then that way I think we can keep decorating, but with columns. I think that'll look good. And then, like, these... I like these, but I kind of want to do, trim. Like, blue trim? Not a whole lot. Not enough to be, like, irritating to look at. Like, nothing this big, you know. Let's go to... classic. Is it gonna be too much? It might actually be just enough. Yeah, actually, I think that looks pretty good. It makes that line pop, which is what we want. Almost there. I think this looks pretty good, right? Definitely separates these two areas. I think we need to go ahead and start pulling in the columns. It is just so saturated and so sunny, but the more texture we get on this, the better it looks. At least I think. You know, maybe that's just me, but... Alright, I have returned from Cocoa. Time to keep going. You know, I know that I said that I was just going to leave this open, but I think for now we're going to close it. And if we need to do shops or whatever later, we'll get there. And then I really feel like we're going to need some cloth. Like, we've had a lot of stone so far, we've got a lot of tile, but we don't have... We need more texture variation, and wood doesn't make sense for this area yet. We'll have plenty of wood in the nature area. So let's do some cloth stuff, yeah? Okay. Hear me out. But I think that these could be really cute sleeping baskets for our lions. Like, let's just put one, like, right there. I want to see if they can get into it, right? Yeah, like, they can kind of get into it. Okay. I don't know if they'll use it. I would love to see them use it, but if they do. Elephant... Yeah, that is a lion. Okay. So I have been sitting here quietly plugging away at this for a little while now. And I think it's going okay. You know? Like, I think we're making good progress. But one of the most frustrating things about recording like this is that when I've got my mic open like I do, I can't really put anything on. Because either I have to go in and mute my mic, which is not, like, a big deal, you know? It does mean a little bit more cutting from my editor. But, you know, it's... For the most part, I end up just sort of recording in silence. And, of course, any of you who know that eventually the silence starts to, like, sit with you as well. And it's not necessarily a pleasant experience. It's weird, right? Like, we don't do silence well anymore. And I think at one point maybe we did, but maybe we never did. You know? Like, maybe silence was just not something humanity's ever really been good at. Because normally we have, you know, nature sounds at the very least. Like, even in the most rural areas, there's some kind of nature out there to listen to. Or, you know, there's the sounds of the city or whatever. And that's fine. I think that this is a good place to stop with this area, don't you think? Like, it's pretty well decorated, but we want to leave enough room for the lions to actually, like, roam. And I don't think it's so cluttered, you know? Like, this is supposed to be a habitat front. It's not supposed to be, like, a chunk of city. So I think we're gonna go ahead and get started with the nature area. How do we want to do these palm trees? Yeah, maybe not that much. Just a little bit of a tilt. I really want... I get some, like, desert plants. Yeah, like these. Yeah. Get some random rotation. I'm tired of doing this manually. Alright, so we have gotten most of the greenery area figured out. I haven't decided if there's more that I want to do with this space. I kind of feel like no, you know? I've built up these little trench areas where, like, the sand is going to come through. I got plenty of grassland, and then we've got this sort of city-plex thing over here. So I think it looks alright. There's a couple of areas where I feel like it's not finished yet, and part of it is I'm wondering if maybe it's just, like, my graphics, if there's some kind of weirdness there. Oh, you know what we haven't added? We have no rock work. None whatsoever. That's probably what I'm looking for, is that there's no pebbles. Let's go get some of those added in real quick. Yeah, let's do, like, the little ones. I'm just gonna make these little paths. Yeah, there we go. That looks way better. It's like, save selection as blueprint. Save that as scenery. So it's nature, create. There we go. Alrighty. Yeah, the rocks help tie things together. Looks a little bit more natural. We're not going to add in, like, any big barriers. But I think this is probably fine, yeah? Alright, let's go ahead and have a little bit of a walk around with our animals and see how everything interacts. Yeah, they seem to like it. Oh, and the lion's over here. Doesn't seem like the rocks are giving them any kind of traversability issues. Is anybody still up here on this platform? Doesn't look like it. Can they get up here? Yeah, they're fine. And it doesn't look like we're having any kind of escape issues. So yeah, I think, ladies and gentlemen, that is a lion habitat. Could we do with more polish? Of course. Of course we could do with more polish. We could always add in more little details and things. But as things stand right now, I think it's okay. We will eventually fix that. But there's a lot of these weird little, like, I don't know, like, just guest interaction and stuff things that I'm just gonna do them off screen. It's not actually that interesting to, like... I mean, like, it could be interesting to build, like, a mall or something like that, like some kind of guest area, but for the most part, I think we're good. So, yeah, I think we're gonna call it here. It's certainly plenty of footage. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining me. If you are visually sensitive, we are about to go spin that wheel, so you probably want to check out. So yeah, if you made it this far, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the build. Yeah, for the rest of you who want to stick around for the wheel spinning to see what we're gonna do next week, let's go ahead and hop over, shall we? Okay, so here we are on the wheel of everything. I've tried my best to cram everything that I know of onto this wheel. Like, we should have every creature. So, anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and find out what we're gonna do, what we're gonna build for next week. 3, 2, 1, spin. Well, looks like we're staying in Africa with bonobos. Not what I was expecting, but sure. Alright, why not? Go ahead and hide the choice. If I had to pick an area for the bonobos, and now I do, I think down here with the elephants, and then sort of leading into an area, like a deep jungle area, and then making use of this weird little path through here, I think that that's going to be the best. So that will be what we work on next week, is adding in our bonobos, and hopefully I will get some of this absolute hideous mess cleared up off screen. But yeah, so thank you very much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the build. Stay safe, y'all. Have fun, and happy building.